Hey,
Hey,
welcome, race fans. Ron Miller, Scott Hammer, and a special guest sitting in the wings, Scott Warner. And I'm sure that name doesn't mean anything to you folks yet. But before this show's over, you're going to be very comfortable with him.
and of course, our show open kind of crashed. I'm not. Everything disappeared. That's why we have a black background around us tonight. But I assure you, this is the Hammer Down Racing Report. Thank you for tuning in. Very big announcements coming up very shortly. This is show number 136. A little bit of a different beginning. It's like us all of a sudden. Sorry, you don't get to watch the cool little video we normally do. You can watch one of our other episodes to see that. But show for Thursday, June 25th. Lots to talk about tonight. This has been a crazy week. Lots to talk about. I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about here first. But coming up later on tonight, we'll have the latest on the Ohio Sprint Speedway, the Bubba Wallace stuff, all the news that is fit to print. I got to thank Ron Miller Race Cars in Lambertville, Michigan. I don't want to start the scroll yet because that's going to give things away. We're going to have our guest talk first. Also, thanks to Dean Henry, Big D's Pizza in Clyde. Mention the Hammer Down Race Report. Save 10% off any order. Give them a call, 419-547-1444. Thanks to Oakshade Raceway, just north of Wasion. Fastest meet to race every Saturday night. Got a full show coming up this Saturday with late model sportsmen, bombers, and compacts. Also, Kester Mowing.
You know what, Scott? We ought to get a couple more racetracks to sponsor our show.
We give them free plugs anyway, so yeah, you're right. You work on that for me.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
All right. Give Steve Kester a call for your lawn and landscaping needs, mowing, seeding, fertilizing, insect, weed control, and a lot more. He does all kinds of stuff, does great work. Give him a call, 419-466-3801. That number will show up in the scroll. That'll be coming up shortly. I haven't started it yet. And tell him Hammer Down Racing Report sent you. So should we bring in our guest now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's pop Scott Warner in here. And I'm not even going to we're not even going to introduce you or anything because you have an announcement to make. We're just going to let you go straight into the announcement, and then we'll talk to you after that, ask you some questions. And if any of our listeners have questions, feel free to put that or leave them in the comments here on our Facebook Live if you're part of our live audience here tonight. So without further ado, Scott, it's all you. You're going to be filling up the screen here. It's all you.
Thanks. I want to thank Scott and Ron and everyone to allow me to come on to the show to make this announcement. What we're here to do tonight is announce that we are opening Millstream this year. We'll be opening probably later in the summer, closer to the end of August. We're working with the health department to get those types of things sorted out, and all the other things that we have to do now with COVID. And really the other thing is the track has been a little bit dormant for a while. So we're trying to get all the facilities back up in order the way they need to be to do a show. But to me, Millstream's always been a Sunday show, so it will continue to be on Sundays. Sunday night, we'll start it earlier, probably starting racing at 6. And our goal, as I think you all talked about this before, we need a short night. We need to do get done by 9:30, be out the door. We have a joke around a facility sometimes that is run a 2-day show. We're not going to run a 2-day show, one that starts on Sunday and ends on Monday. We're going to keep it short so people like myself who have families can get the kids back home and get them ready for school. And we're looking forward to it. I've been around racing quite a bit. Most people don't know who I am. I don't have a promoter's background or anything like that. I just have a passion for racing and had an opportunity to help out to open the track. Perfect timing for quite a few people for me to do that. So I've been very excited to make this announcement. Plus, we've seen a lot of people comment about the track, wanting the track to reopen, wondering what's going on, and there's a lot of support behind it. There's probably a couple weeks ago we changed the picture on the Facebook page and had over 200 comments or 200 likes and lots of comments, and it shows there's a lot of interest in the track, and we're happy to put it back on Sunday nights and get racing. It's probably we'll run the first show. We're anticipating running 410s, 305s, and bombers with the Fremont trucks would be what we'd like to do. And then second show, more than likely, will be 410s with the late models, and again, run the bombers with the trucks. That's at least our tentative plan for now. So.
Well, we're excited to hear that, and looking forward to some races. I know you and I have been talking quite a bit over the last few months about things, and this whole COVID-19 thing is kind of throwing a little bit of a monkey wrench into the plans. I mean, I'm sure that originally, would you have considered starting a little earlier in the season if it wasn't for all the social distancing guidelines?
We probably wouldn't have been able to go any faster than what we are. Because the track had been dormant for so long, the first time I was down there was more green on the racetrack than dirt. So we've had to do a lot of work there. We've had some vandalism to the facility. We had a family of raccoons live in one building. We think a squatter was living in another building on the property.
Did you charge them rent?
No, not yet. We knew who it was. So part of the first phase was just securing the property. I know somebody had been out taking pictures of the track and posted those online back when there was a lot of green on the track. At that point, you could probably walk on it pretty easily. But now we've secured things and have a little bit tighter security. But in that process, the water truck had been vandalized to the point where we can't use it. So we got to do something different with another water truck and things like that. So, there's a lot of work that goes into it. The bathrooms have been one of the things that people have commented on. So we got to make sure that we get those squared away. We have a whole nother issue with bathrooms because of social distancing. If you're a guy, the way we go, it's hard to get 6 feet apart. So we got to make some provisions with all that good stuff. So we're going to make it right. I've said this a couple people, our goal is to crawl, then walk, then run with the track. So, the first night out is going to be, will be new for me when it comes to how everything goes. We have people that have experience around us to help, but, it's going to be perfectly imperfect the first night. And then we take everything from the first night, regroup, reassess. And then when we go to the second night, it'll be a little bit better than the first. And then at the end of this year, we'll evaluate how it goes and decide what goes on for the next year.
I've known Scott, to our listeners, I've known Scott for a lot of years. He helped. Yeah. There he is. That's Scott. Yeah. I've known Scott for a lot of years. Probably 20 years ago, you helped Steve as crew chief on his race car. I know you're a huge race fan, and that plays well into it. And your marketing degree is a big deal. And I think that'll definitely help you. I see on the messages on the side, a lot of people are concerned about who's going to be actually running the racetrack, what your title's going to be. Are you just a manager, or do you have a vested interest in the racetrack? And what are your long-term goals?
Sure, I've leased the track. So I've leased, we have a lease in place, so I'll be promoting. So it's solely on my shoulders to make that part of it work. Like any good organization, you got to put some really good people around you to make it work. So that's kind of the track we're on. But it's leased to me. So it's a little, the track is still with the same owners, but it's leased to me.
Let me ask you this question. Why did you decide to take this on? It's kind of a big endeavor, I would believe.
Yeah, well, it has a lot of reasons. One is I hate to see it set. It sat for too long. I remember going there when I was younger. It was a great Sunday afternoon for me and my family to go down and watch racing. A lot of people love that track, and a lot of people are attached to that track for a lot of reasons.
Passionate about that track.
Exactly. And it's a shame to see it set. So I was in a fairly unique position to do that. My background is in operations. That's what I do on my 9-to-5 job, so to speak. So, getting the track around kind of fits into what my background is. I love racing. I mean, I absolutely love racing. Last week I was at Attica watching the races and sat to Big D's Pizza. I've been out to Oakshade. Hopefully, any luck, might be out there Saturday night. So it's I'm just an all-around race fan. So it seemed to make sense for me. I have two boys that are very into racing. My wife is going to be involved in that. She's in the marketing side of the business. So I have a daughter who is 7, but she wants to be in concessions. So the whole family is involved. I also need to thank a lot of people that have already been at the track working. There are some people that have worked their tails off to get to where we're at right now. The neighbors around the area have been great. It's amazing how many people just drive up to the track and just want to know what's going on. We don't have to sign up or anything like that. They see us out mowing or working on the track or working on signs or what have you, and people just want to know what's happening. We did have one guy thought it could have been a football field. He didn't know much about the track, but everyone else knows exactly what it's there for, and they just want to see it open. They want to see race cars rip around the track as much as I do. And it's a unique place because from a social distancing aspect, we're different than most because we can put a lot of people in lawn chairs, and we can put them all the way from the entry into the pit area all the way through turns 2 and 1, and then meets up against the grandstands. And then they can sit also in the hills on turn 4. So you can mark your spot on the hills and sit there and watch the race. You don't have to sit in the grandstands. I think our capacity is probably greater in the hills than it is the actual grandstands. So we can fit a lot of people there. So it'll be easy to space out.
Again, we're talking to Scott Warner, who is the promoter of Millstream Speedway, opening up later on this summer, if you're just joining us. You talked a little bit about the state of the facilities. What is currently, how does the track look? How's the facilities? I mean, how much more work do you have to go before opening up later this summer?
The track is looking much better. We finally got it all kind of turned over and all the greens off and going through trying to break up some of the larger clumps. Interestingly enough, this track has been around forever, but still it pushes up huge stones. So we're still picking up a lot of stones out of the track. We're trying to get the infield prepped. There's for people that aren't familiar with the track, it's a sister of Eldora. It's laid out the same. There's a pit road that goes through toward the front stretch, which we're going to be utilizing for push-offs during qualifying for the sprints. So they're going to push off from the front stretch or front pit road. So we're trying to get that. There used to be, and there still is, a go-kart track in the center, along with there was a quad track there too that had some jumps. So trying to prep that out. And now we're working on part of the outer facilities with the pit area and all the things that just haven't seen much attention, in the past few years, and we're just putting it back together. But the facility itself, the bones of the facility are very good, very, very good. There's no issues with that.
Scott, I'm seeing that we're getting a lot of questions in our scroll over here. I think maybe, Mr. Hammer, if you don't have a problem, I'm going to give out my cell phone number too. And if somebody wants to ask Scott a question, we can ask that question through our switchboard. Be a whole lot easier if we were back in our main studio, but we're stuck with this, and I want to accommodate our listeners as much as possible, and I know they've got some questions. So
what number you want to give?
I would like on the screen. They can call us at 419-279-0100, and we have operators standing by.
Steve, answer the phone.
There you go.
Maybe.
There's the number. We'll put that up on the
He's
screen.
behind you.
Ron's number. Give him a call all night. Is there going to be anything different fans can expect to see at the track this year? Any improvements you're going to be making, or are you just strictly fixing up what's there to be able to go race?
From the spectator side, probably it's going to be very similar to what they've experienced in the past. Not a lot of changes there. We've talked about changing some of the things that we do on the track. One of the one of the things that we are going to try is making the restarts work a little different. There won't be a cone, there won't be a white line. The cars will they'll start from the flag stand. So you get the green from the flag stand. Once all the cars are on the front straightaway and go. We've seen where some people have, let's say, not been on the flat, so to speak, in the corner and jump on the gas, and then all of a sudden you pile up a bunch of cars right on the start. So we like to sort that out a little bit. We want to do double file restarts to make it a little bit more exciting, to give somebody a chance to jump up in some spots. When there's a caution, the field really freezes. So it's not like the leader gets to go to the front. The leader is where the lap cars will be intermixed with the cars that are behind the leader. So that's something a little different. Those are the types of things we want to try in the future. Probably not this year, but in the future, we're talking about running a 25 lap, let's say 25 lap bomber truck race, where during one portion, during any time you want, you have to come in and perform a one tire pit stop. So they come down pit road in the front, and these guys will have to do a pit stop on somewhere on the left-hand side of the car, probably left rear or left front, whatever. But then we'll witness that, and they can do however they want to do it. Whatever tools they want to bring, go ahead and give it a go. But probably won't be this year, probably next year.
I don't
Scott,
know what I think
one of our listeners is asking if there's any chance of a third Jenkins Memorial, which was kind of a trademark race for this for Millstream.
I haven't discussed it, but be more than willing to have the conversations. That is one good point. I should point out. I don't have any connection to any of the past history of the track. I don't know much about past promoters or anything like that. So some of the races that went on, I'm not familiar with, which sounds kind of odd. But I'm kind of coming into this from a different view. But yeah, if it makes sense, we'll do it for sure. I'm open. So I want to see people back. I want to see them in the stands, be happy, and if there's something they're connected to, let's try it.
Well, I know
and,
that.
And I'm sure you'd like, at the end of the day, you'd like to make a few bucks.
I'll give a lot of credit to the tracks that race without fans in the stands, because for us that would not work. That was a no-go for us. It didn't work, and I give a lot of credit to those. I think Sandusky, Oakshade, I think even Attica did it. I don't know how. That's tough. That's really tough. So yeah, we want to see. We love fans.
Well, I know that Ron Jenkins Memorial race brought quite a few cars, a lot of competitors. It was a pretty big thing, and it had a lot of local support from the racers out there as well. So that might be something to look at, maybe going forward. So one question that may come up quite a bit. I know you said you're not familiar with the previous owners and everything, or previous promoters of the track. But we've seen promoters come and go over the past few years. The start up, things are starting to look good, and then it just kind of stops. What do you think is different this time that we can see this as a long-term deal?
I guess part of my benefit is I don't really know what all happened back with others. Kind of focuses on going forward, and that's what we're going to do. And this year is really more of we're going to run a few races and see where we stand. We have an advantage this year because I think racing might go into later into the season. We're still probably hopefully going to see football. I'm a big football fan, but I think the county fairs, or some of those are in jeopardy. Some have been canceled. The tractor pulls were canceled. And I think it allows a lot of tracks to go a little bit deeper. And so we're going to see how that plays out. And then I'm fairly pragmatic, and I really want to evaluate what happens after the first race, what worked, what didn't work. Want people's feedback on what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Constructive, of course, but want to get the feedback back from people. And then we regroup, retool, and we go on with the next show. And then we evaluate at the end of the year. Then next year we'll probably have larger opportunities to do different things. But we are starting awfully late, so I don't want to try to completely reinvent a wheel yet. we'll do that as we go.
Scott, we've got a listener that was just a little bit late to the party and asked a question. It's worth repeating. What day are you going to run and what classes? Just real quick.
Sure. Sunday nights. It's a Sunday night track. And then the first show, what we're anticipating doing is 410 sprints, 305 sprints, and then running, which my understanding was some really great racing, running street stock and then the Fremont trucks. You have to run what your local track has. So if the rules are what they are at Oakshade and you're from Oakshade, that's what you run. If you're from Fremont, you run that. You can't be finding the best of both and putting them together. But my understanding was that might be one of the pictures. I always get this mixed up. Which way I'm looking? That picture there is a truck and a bomber. Yeah, and I think those guys battled it out pretty hard. So I'm looking forward to that. For anyone that I have a little bit of a soft spot for bombers. I ran one for a little while, so I always enjoy them. They're unpredictable. They're fun to watch. You just never know what's going to happen with the bombers. So I love having those at the track.
You mentioned you have a lot of family involved that's going to be helping you out. Do you have anybody else in place as far as officials that are going to be running things or helping you run things?
We are working on some of that. There's some people I want to speak to from that side of it, from the competition and that side. I've been working on an announcer who won't commit 100% because he says he drives part of the time. But
that bastard.
No, we're starting to fill in those. What we're going to do, I'm glad you brought that up. In a week or two, we're going to post on our webpage and probably on the Facebook page open spots that we're looking to fill. And if people are interested, if you worked at the track before, we'd like to hear from you. You guys have been there and done that. You put in your time. It's a track you're invested into. We'd love to have you back if the spots work out. And so that's what we'd really like to do is, we're not trying to make competition or anything quite like that with any other tracks. We kind of know where we're at. We're on Sunday nights. We don't, we're not really competing against everyone else, but I'm a fan. Like I said, I was just at Attic last week. I go to Fremont and Oakshade quite a bit. I'm a fan first and trying to help get the track open second.
Okay, and where can people follow the track to stay up to date?
Facebook is probably the best one. The regular Facebook page for Millstream, there's quite a few people there. And then the regular email address or the track website is, I think it's just millstreamspeedway.net. There we go. And we'll be updating those. We'll have the announcement up on those here in a little while. And I think we'll probably change the contact information over. It'll be my contact information up there. So if anyone wants to get a hold of me, feel free. The easiest way to get a hold of me is, like I said, I do have another job, I have a regular job. So email me and I can respond back. But you can always call me too.
Okay. I'm looking through some of our comments here to see if there's any questions. If anybody does have a question for Scott, again, talking on Millstream Speedway reopening later this year. What was did you have a target date for that? Did you say?
End of August. There's a couple days we have picked out. We still have a little bit of work to do with some scheduling. We also need our plan needs to be submitted to the health department. The health department so far has been really good. And it really helped out having everyone else open up first, because a lot of tracks went through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of how this thing works. The rules on how to show up for any event kept on changing every week. And in some cases, I felt these were changing hours before an event. You can have people, you can't have people. And now it seems to have shaken out. There is still no single guideline from the state for racetracks. It's my understanding is we're going to need to follow ones from a fair, like a county fair, their guidelines, plus non-contact sports. Everyone else seemed to have the exact procedures in place on how to reopen. But the biggest areas that we have to work with and submit our plan to is how we're going to social distance, what is the bathroom situation, and how are we going to keep our hands sanitized and things like that. So those are the big ones. We are gonna, we're gonna open concessions, and hopefully we might have to do a little bit, maybe a limited menu at first. We're not quite sure how that's gonna work, but we will do, we'll do that.
Okay. And any idea? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just being to some of the art tracks, it seems like they've been able to do pretty much whatever they've done in the past for the most part.
Is there any idea when you think you'll know when that exact date is and what exact classes you're going to run for that first show?
Probably closer toward the middle or end of July. It'll be a good month. We'll have a good month for everyone to know.
With all the other tracks having a good track record of what's going to how they've been proceeding, your health department down there should have a pretty good idea of how to proceed and what kind of restrictions you're going to have. Your area is not much different than Attica or Oakshade or Sandusky, so they should be able to lean on those health departments for good guidance.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, good point, Ron. They've actually done that. They've reached out to at least one of the health departments that has a track at it, and kind of described what they've been doing. And it's like anything, we're going to have to put in our plan what we're going to do. We have to write that down. And the biggest thing, when you write it down, you got to do it. So we can't write up something that we're not going to be able to do. And everything we put in there, we're going to be able to do. So that's really the trick. And the numbers in Ohio keep going up recently. I know some of the other states have had some real issues. I'm hoping that we don't see something like that come back at us. These are kind of like black swans that have come out of nowhere and knocked us all off of our plans. And
sure,
it's right when you think you know what to do, it changes.
I got a question here from Jeff, and I think we talked about this. How about modifieds?
Probably not this year, but Ron told me it's a good idea to do those. So
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I can see them coming, but it may not be in 2020.
Okay.
The one thing we can comment on is, we have, Speed Weeks is coming up and big shows and things like that. The track has hosted big shows in the past. And for us, I don't know if that's going to be something we want to do, at least on as we get started. There's a tremendous amount of risk in bringing in a group like that financially up front, and financially if it rains or something, you're going to be on the hook. So I don't see anything for 2020 and probably not 2021. I'm not saying we'd never do that, but we're going to try to stick with what we know and what works, and where all the locals, where do they race, and have those cars come to our track. That's what we want to do on Sunday nights.
How about this? There's an Attica Oakshade late model series, Attica Oakshade Millstream late model series.
Sounds good. Yeah, I have no problems with that at all. I have not spoke to any other tracks. I plan to. There's a lot of people I need to contact. And part of this has been we've needed to keep some things quiet. So I haven't been able to talk to a lot of people that I really want to talk to. So now that you guys have spilled the beans on this little gig, we can go ahead and I can really make some contacts.
I bet your email, your phone's going to start blowing up here over the next week or two. What about four cylinders?
I don't know about those. I just honestly don't know enough about them. Back when I raced, there was just bombers. I don't know much about the compacts. I did see, Corey. I think he had the pack pretty much covered most of last year, if I remember. But they put on a good show. I just don't know. The other thing is, you guys have talked about this too. Is we want to restrict the show so we can get people through at a reasonable time. So if we run too many classes, we're going to run into that 2-day show scenario that we're not wanting to do. So we want to start early. We might be lucky to turn on the lights if we do this right. So our goal is to get everyone, hopefully out of the facility on the road well before 10, more like 9:30 or so. And so by doing that, we kind of have to keep the different classes that race every night smaller. But that doesn't mean we won't rotate through some of these classes as the summer goes on.
Now, you mentioned the stocks and trucks. Were you open it up for Lima Eldora stocks as well?
That one I haven't thought about yet.
Okay.
I don't know the rule. I don't know the rules as well. So
I know somebody that does know the rules, and we can talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of things still to be hashed out. That's basically what I'm getting here.
For sure. This is there's a lot of work to do yet. We're not ready to go racing this weekend for sure. Although the track looks like it's pretty good, but we have a lot of work to do.
I'm still scrolling through some of the comments here. Hope the new owners succeed. I mean, have you been getting a lot of positive response from the people that have been stopping by? Did you tell them you're going to be opening, and were they excited?
We did not tell anyone we were opening.
Okay. So they probably weren't too excited.
The neighbors just think you're making it pretty.
I think Scott froze.
Oh, he did.
This isn't good.
Oh, it'll refresh in just a minute. He's probably got Buckeye cable.
That's probably sure. Wait. No, we're not bad mouthing anybody. I'm still looking through some of the comments here while we hopefully get Scott back with us again.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shipley. It may be a rotating schedule. Late models are certainly part of the rotation.
Oh, I think we got Scott back. I hear him.
Strange was I never stopped moving.
You stopped on our screen.
That was your internet speed, not mine.
All right, we'll blame me. Fine. That's fine. What were we saying? Oh, I think the last thing I asked you was the people stopping by, but you didn't tell them.
Oh yeah, we're just mowing the property. But we did have a micro sprint on the track, just doing some testing and things like that. So there's been some people that have kind of known what's going on. I mean, you wouldn't normally prepare a track for if you're just mowing the yard.
Now, you did mention that you weren't, at least for this year, and I don't know about next year, but bringing any of the groups in, sanctioned races, like Sonia asked about the NRA Super Sprints. Any plans maybe in the future for that kind of thing?
Yeah, like I said, we're open to a lot of different things. I was at I didn't make the Oakshade show. I think it got rained out that night, and then they rescheduled. But I was at the Fremont one where the non-wing boss cars were there, and they put on. There we go. They put on a great show. That was great to watch, and had a lot of people really excited. So that'd probably be a series to consider coming.
And as far as the rules go, are you going to have those posted once you get them hashed out on the website?
Yeah, very much so. We're just not there yet.
Okay. The comments just keep coming. Holy cow, I can't keep up.
Pave it. I don't know about that one.
What's that?
Oh, somebody commented pave the track. I don't think we're going to pave the dirt.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Chris Mize might want that, but he'd be a good one to talk to too about the health department stuff. He's got a whole Ohio coalition thing he's working on. There's Great Lakes traditional sprints. All right, people are just going to be throwing out all kinds of series that they want you to run. But bottom line is Millstream Speedway is going to be opening up late August with, and you said the first show is going to be probably 410s, 305s.
Yep, and the bomber and trucks.
The bombers. So 3 classes. Any idea of start times, gate times, anything like that, or is it too early for anything?
It's kind of tradition on there. You can come in early, like on maybe Fridays, and mark your lawn area if you want to sit somewhere out there. And that'd probably be the same for Saturday. And then, I think we would probably start hot laps roughly around 5 at this point, and probably start the show as early as 6, and see if we can get it in 3.5 hours.
Okay, and you said the plan is 2 or 3 races this year?
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of late starting. We're rookies at the wheel here, and what I don't want to do is overpromise anything and underdeliver. So we want to make sure what we do is above board. Everyone knows when we're going to go and what we're doing, and it's a whole community down there that needs to know what we're doing and seeing and believing that the track's going to come back and it's going to be run well. And we have kind of a social responsibility for all that stuff too. So it's to community, but mainly to the fans who have stuck with that track for such a long time, and also the competitors. I mean, if you look at the people who have raced at that track, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. So it has so much history, and I'm just happy to get it back open for everybody.
I remember when I was working down there in the late 90s, Casey Kane was making his mark in a sprint car, and before moving up to the Cup Series, Tony Stewart showed up one night. I think it was his rookie season in Cup with his dirt late model team, and won the dirt late model feature. I remember interviewing him and thinking, man, this guy's shorter than I thought he was.
Well, we want the next group. I mean, that's part of the other thing. There's some guys out there who are really making connections with fans, and you had two of them on last week with Devin and with Misler. They do a great job, and we need more of that. We need more people to be engaged in the whole sport. Ron does a very good job. I brought last year into the pits my boys, and each of those guys had a couple more boys, and Ron and Stevie let them kind of climb all over the car and understand it. I think I was just in high school just finishing high school when I met Ron, and he let me help him when he jumped in another car for somebody, and then when he got his car back, he pushed me over to Steve, and I helped him. And those types of connections that you can make are so important, because we need more people coming through. We need more interest in the sport. We need more cars on the track, and we need everyone to understand what this is all about. This is some of the best people are in motorsports, the friendliest people, and we just want to continue that.
And we've
got a lot of questions, Scott. There's a few naysayers, and I just want to assure people, and I've known Scott for a lot of years, and his managerial skills are excellent, and he's not running the track for anyone. He's leased the track. Everything is going to rise and fall on his abilities. And one thing I would ask Scott to do is, instead of using the royal we, use the term I, because everything is on you, buddy.
Well, it takes everybody. It's going to take a village, but you have to have a leader to do that. So it is it is on me to make sure it works at the end of the night. So that's what we want to do. But
it's a support of the fans and the racers as well.
Well, the best thing that could happen is when people leave the track, we don't necessarily need to talk about the track. I want people talking about what just took place on the track. What that race was all about. The heroes, the stars, they're all on the competitor side, and I want that to shine through, and the track is just kind of facilitates that. And so I want them to enjoy the food. I want them to feel safe in the facility, but really, I want them to really root for people and get involved in racing.
You already kind of answered this question. When will the schedule be available? You said probably in about a month or so, end of July, you'll announce dates for this year.
Correct. Yep, correct.
Everybody's throwing out ideas here. Rusty Smith, what about a UMP Sportsman show for a night? I know that those Oakshade Sportsmen are always looking for somewhere else to race too.
Probably through the rotation in 2021.
There you go. Stewart wasn't there. Oh my goodness, they just keep coming. So I think we'll wrap it up there. I pretty much talked it to death here. Again, bottom line, Scott Warner taking over the reins of Millstream Speedway. Hasn't seen action since I believe it was 2016, and I think I was probably there for at least a couple of those events. And one of them was the Ron Jacobs Memorial, and I think Tom Cole had mentioned there was like 59 trucks and bombers, or trucks and stocks that were in the pits for that show. So it was a pretty big deal. And I know he did a lot of work putting the purse together for that, and it was just cool that the track hosted that kind of a deal for a support class like that. But it's the sprints, it's the late models that definitely bring in the fans, the big a big chunk of the fans, I suppose. It also costs you a little more when you got to pay them, huh?
Yeah, but if you run it right, it's okay.
Absolutely.
And if you've got nothing going Saturday night, come on out to Oakshade and we can give you a couple of more pointers.
I would appreciate that.
And maybe I'll even put you to work again.
I can do that too.
So you can keep up to date on the Millstream Speedway Facebook page. People are shooting me messages here. You can keep up to date on the Millstream Speedway Facebook page. Do you have a Twitter at all, or just Facebook at this point?
No, we do. We have a Twitter, and of course I don't remember those things very well. But the Twitter is Millstream Race, it's Millstream Race. There's a couple of those, and then Millstream Speedway, but SPDWY is the Instagram, and we're slowly dividing that work out amongst some of the family here. So we'll get updates on there as they go.
And of course, millstreamspeedway.net is the website, and you said that's going to be updated here shortly. So, and press releases are going out about this as well in about 20 minutes or so.
Yep. And then everyone needs to watch the show because we'll probably post on or scroll down at the bottom what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Oh, and we'll definitely have you back as we get closer to the middle of August.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, when you get the details worked out for that first show, we'll definitely have you back on because I'm sure there's going to be more questions too. Like, how come the modifieds aren't on it, or how come I'm not racing?
Well, I'm smart enough to know I will never be able to please everyone. So, we're going to do what works best and put on a good show for people and try to accommodate as many different things as we can do. But really, at its core, it's a sprint car track. It always has been, and that's always part of the good shows. And we'll bring in the others as we can.
Definitely looking forward to hearing the engines roar there once again.
It'll be cool.
As I'm sure a bunch of people in the Findlay area, all over Northwest Ohio and beyond are excited. So.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it, Scott. We had a racer from Columbus that said if they run modifieds, he'll tow up from Columbus.
I'd appreciate that. That sounds good.
Yeah. That looks like a late model in his profile picture, though. Looks like an old school late model. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Scott Warner, again, we appreciate the time and good luck on things, and we'll keep in touch.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Warner, promoter at Millstream Speedway. Yeah, thanks for being on, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for all your help.
So very cool news there. That is our major announcement for tonight, was the Millstream Speedway opening up, back up in 2020. Just when you thought 2020 was the worst year ever, you get some good news. And we
bring great news.
Yeah. So, and hopefully this is a long-term deal. I know he said just a few races this year, and things are kind of difficult with the COVID-19 restrictions and all that to try and relaunch a track, I guess, in these conditions. So we wish him the best and hoping for a lot more races in 2021.
I know some of the information, and Scott has taken a really big bite with this, and I would ask all of our listeners and all of the fans, as the word spreads around, to be as supportive as you can of this endeavor. It can be really great for racing.
Absolutely. And I know there's going to be a lot of folks that have witnessed what's been going on down there and have kind of been heartbroken with people coming and going. But hopefully this one sticks. Fingers crossed. Hopefully
they get one more chance at a first impression.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of other stuff to cover here.
We do.
Want to remind everybody to make sure to follow us on Facebook, also on Twitter at Hammer Report. You can also follow our YouTube channel and listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, and that should be iHeartRadio, but we can also do Spotify and whatever else. Got some racing action to talk about from last week, don't we, Ron?
Yeah, there was some.
Got a lot of stuff to cover here. We'll kind of go through this stuff here. Tim Schaefer won his 18th career 410 sprint feature at Attica Raceway Park on Friday. Matt Miller returned to pilot the Rick DeLong number 3 to victory in the late model feature on Friday at Attica. And Paul Weaver, he had a good weekend. He fought off challenges from several drivers to claim the 305 feature on Friday night. We'll talk about him again in just a minute. Oakshade Raceway hosted the Barney Oldfield race, its 31st annual. And Tyler Carpenter from Parkersburg, West Virginia, also a winner of the Gateway Dirt Nationals, came up and put on a show with Rusty Schlenk there to win that 31st annual Barney Oldfield race. It was his very first visit to the track, too.
Your microphone's a little crackly there, Scott.
It moved. How are we doing now?
Oh, more better.
More better? I just got to touch it there.
Okay.
This is our high-tech equipment that we have. Because I don't have the station equipment anymore. Working from home. Rusty Smith continued his dominance in the sportsman class, won his 4th consecutive feature. Adam Lance won the Bomber A-Main, and I believe it was his first night out of the year, too. And Corey Gum, who wanted to get the compacts down there at Millstream Speedway, was the compact winner on Saturday at Fremont. Greg Dietrich won the Bomber B-Main. Fremont Speedway was in action Saturday night as well. Cole Duncan opened Fremont Speedway's 2020 season with a 410 feature win. Paul Weaver, told you we'd be talking about him again. He picked up another 305 feature win, so he won Friday and Saturday. It was his 52nd career victory at Fremont Speedway. Sean Valeni, another guy we talk about a lot, had on the show a few times. He won the dirt truck feature, and it was his 56th career feature win.
Wow.
Sandusky Speedway was also in action. Jaden McCall was the beginner stock feature winner for the 2nd week in a row. Justin Stanley won the Renegade feature. Johnny Newman was the pure stock feature winner, and Kenny Phillips won the very first modified feature of the year. First time they had the modifieds out there this year.
Phillips' name is pretty synonymous with that racetrack, so yeah, that's a good deal.
That checks out. Carson Short won his first ever World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Series feature Friday night at Tri-State Speedway. It was his 11th World of Outlaw start. Carson Macedo took his car. I got a bug flying around me. Took his Kyle Larson racing team to victory on Saturday at Tri-State for the $10,000 win. Next up for the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series is Jackson Motorplex Friday and Saturday. I believe that's up there in Minnesota. World of Outlaw Morton Building Late Model Series. Brandon Shepard won Friday night at Volunteer Speedway. It was a race that featured 4 different leaders. Zach Mitchell won Saturday night, leading the entire distance at Volunteer. I'm going to fly again. He collected the $10,000 win. It was his first World of Outlaw career victory. Next up for the World of Outlaw Late Model Series is the Firecracker 100 at Lernerville Speedway in Pennsylvania tomorrow and Saturday night. Lucas Oil Late Models were also in action. Bobby Pierce dominated the opening night of the General Tire Clash at the MAG. That was last Thursday night, a week ago tonight, as a matter of fact. Point leader Jimmy Owens fended off Josh Richards on night number 2 of the Clash at the MAG at Magnolia Motor Speedway. Owens went on to win again on Saturday for the $15,000 main event. Next up for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series is Tennessee Action Track 50 at 411 Motor Speedway. That's Friday night. And then Talladega Short Track on Saturday. Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions. Anthony Macri won the Keith Kaufman Classic at Port Royal Speedway. That was last night, Wednesday night. And he did that over some pretty big names. Kyle Larson, who's been very, very hot recently, he finished second. And Aaron Reitzel was third last night. Next up for the All-Stars is Volunteer Speedway in Tennessee, Saturday and Sunday night.
Yeah, second place had to be a letdown for Kyle Larson.
I know. There was a rumor, too. I don't have this in my notes because it is just a rumor about Tony Stewart is interested in putting Kyle Larson in one of his cup cars next year. So
I'd love to see it. He definitely deserves it.
I know that Stewart is a supporter of Larson. The ARCA Menard Series was in action at Talladega on Saturday. Drew Dollar picked up his first series win. He avoided some incidents there in the final laps to pick up that victory. ARCA is going to be at Pocono tomorrow night, Friday, at 6 p.m. on FS1. Another first-time winner was in Saturday's Xfinity Series race at Talladega. Justin Haley got a bump from his teammate to take the lead and the win. That was Saturday. The Geico 500 Cup race was rain delayed from Sunday to Monday, and Ryan Blaney was able to edge out Ricky Stenhouse in a wild finish, with Eric Almirola finishing third backwards.
Did you see that?
I did watch that, yeah.
That was pretty interesting finish.
It's like a demolition derby coming to the checkered flag. Like, it kind of reminded me of my brother and I playing a little racing game. He would just wreck people. Yeah. Next up for NASCAR is Cup Series doubleheader at Pocono. That's going to be the first race 3:30 on Saturday. That'll be on Fox, and then Sunday at 4 o'clock on FS1. The Xfinity Series will race Sunday at 12:30 on FS1, and the trucks return to action Saturday at 12:30 on FS1. Hopefully you got all that. If you didn't, just rewind this and you can hear it again.
Sounds like they're going to wear out some pavement at Pocono this weekend.
Well, they got a lot of pavement there, so they can do that. In the inaugural Great Lakes Traditional Sprints presented by CompCam's season opener, Brian Ruhlman took his very first checkered flag in a sprint car. It was his first ever victory in a sprint car at Silver Bullet Speedway in Owendale, Michigan. So congratulations to Brian Ruhlman on that. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The Cometic Gasket Ohio Sprint Speed Week presented by Hercules Tires, featuring, of course, the Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit Champions. That schedule has been finally set in stone, and it's pretty big. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
All right. Well, should we go through it?
You're going to tell me.
Here we go. It's going to start off July 3rd at Attica Raceway Park, and I got a little asterisk by that. We'll tell you there's a little bonus incentive for that race. Complete with 9 events over a 10-day span, Ohio Sprint Speed Week will visit 7 tracks throughout the Buckeye State. The 9-race campaign is expected to attract some of the nation's finest open-wheel competitors, all chasing a chunk of the $11,000 point fund, $4,000 of which being awarded to the champion. After Friday's opener at Attica, they will continue with a doubleheader on Fremont Saturday and Sunday. So 2 races at Fremont Speedway. And then they move over to Wayne County Speedway on Monday, July 6th. Tuesday is a scheduled rain date. I remember last year they had trouble with rain, and they were just rescheduling tracks that were dry, and it worked out pretty well at the last minute. But they have a built-in rain date again on Tuesday, July 7th. Wednesday, July 8th, Speed Weeks will visit Brush Creek in Peebles. And then Muskegon County Speedway in Zanesville on Thursday and Friday. July 10th, Speed Weeks will be at Portsmouth Speedway, or Portsmouth Raceway Park for the Dean Niddle Memorial. A previously scheduled Sharon Speedway doubleheader featuring the Lou Blaney Memorial and Justin Steiner's Salute to the Troops will conclude Ohio Sprint Speed Week on Saturday and Sunday, July 12th, or 11th and the 12th. And that a little asterisk about Attica and the opener on July 3rd, they have offered up a bonus for any 410 driver in the top 20 in points at Attica who is able to win on July 3rd. They will get a $1,000 bonus. If none of them do win, they will actually get a $500 bonus for the finisher that's highest, as long as they're within the top 20 in points. That makes sense? I don't think I said that right.
Close enough.
You know what I meant, though. That's all that matters.
Did you see that Larry Jewett has joined us? Maybe we should let him know. Maybe Larry should know that Millstream's looking for an announcer.
Here you go. Isn't Larry in Florida?
Yeah, but he could travel up here every weekend.
That's fine. That works. That checks out. In his private jet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle Larson's winning streak finally came to an end on Friday night during the Indiana Midget Week event at Lincoln Park Speedway, with Chris Windham beating him. That was his first loss in like a couple weeks. Larson finished second, and Buddy Kofoid finished third that race on Friday night. Larson did win the next night, Saturday, at Lawrenceburg Speedway. So, NASCAR issued a statement on Tuesday about the Bubba Wallace noose found in the garage situation, which has just been a big. I'm not even sure what word I want to use to describe it. It's been a big conundrum, we'll say. Here's the official quote on the results of the FBI investigation on that noose that was found in his garage. The FBI has completed its investigation at Talladega Superspeedway and determined that Bubba Wallace was not the target of a hate crime. The FBI report concludes, and photographic evidence confirms that the garage door pull rope, fashioned like a noose, had been positioned there since as early as last fall. This was obviously well before the 43 team's arrival and garage assignment. We appreciate the FBI's quick and thorough investigation and are thankful to the team to learn that this was not intentional race. Let me start that over. Thankful to learn that this was not an intentional racist act against Bubba. We remain steadfast in our commitment to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for all who love racing. And then Bubba issued a statement yesterday regarding the matter. He says, quote, "I want to thank my team, NASCAR, and the FBI for acting swiftly and treating this as a real threat. I think we'll gladly take a little embarrassment over what the alternatives could have been," unquote. And then just this afternoon, they released a photo of the noose, garage, pull rope, whatever you want to call it. And if you haven't seen that, we posted a picture on our Hammer Down Racing Report Facebook page, which you can scroll back and check out.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. So did you want to comment on that, or can we just move on?
No, I think we should move on.
It's probably best.
I'm about to, forget it.
So the Dirt Car Summer Nationals are going to officially launch. We mentioned this last week, but there was nothing official. But now they have officially announced this, which everybody had said last week it was going to launch July 8th at Brownstown, which that is true. 26 races will make up the Summer Nationals, and it'll wrap up August 22nd at Oakshade Raceway. For more information on the UMP Dirt Car Summer Nationals for both the modifieds and the late models, you can check out dirtcarsummernationals.com. There's going to be two phases, I guess. They're taking a break there for the Falls Prairie Dog Classic. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I think that, yeah. So, and finally, tickets are on sale for the 32nd annual Brad Doty Classic presented by Racing Optics. Oh, I kind of want to mention this with the Ohio Sprint Speed Weeks, because that wraps up just before the Brad Doty Classic, where the World of Outlaws now coming to Ohio, and then they're racing the Brad Doty Classic at Attica on Tuesday, July 14th, and then they go down to Eldora for the King's Royal for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think it is. So that's like a solid
pretty
week.
Busy week, yeah.
Yeah, and those all those guys are going to be in the area anyway, so. Anyways, as I was mentioning, tickets are on sale for that Brad Doty Classic featuring the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Series, Sprint Series. It'll be the first Ohio appearance of the year for the World of Outlaws. Those fans who have purchased reserve seats already will get their seats. However, no more reserve seats will be sold. There will be a limited number of pre-sale general admission tickets available through the World of Outlaws at worldofoutlaws.com or AtticaRacewayPark.com, and click on the Brad Doty Classic banner. And that's all the news.
Yeah. Just Larry Jewett. I understand, too, that Millstream's looking for a flagman if you're interested.
All right. Ron Miller, the official HR hiring coordinator for Millstream Speedway.
That's it.
Last week, we played how many late models were going to be at Oakshade on Saturday for the Barney Oldfield race. This is your chance to win a Big D's Pizza. You can put in your guess for this week's how many, which I haven't told you what it is yet, so you might want to wait. But you can put your guess in the comments of our Facebook Live. So if you're watching us live right now, you can go ahead and do that. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio or something, as long as it's before Saturday at, we'll say 5 o'clock, then you can find our Facebook Live on our Facebook page. This broadcast of the video will be up there. You can just click on videos, and probably be the last one we did. And you can put your guess in the Facebook comments. It's pretty cool. And you can win a Big D's Pizza. Ron's laughing at something. It will never die, will it, Ron?
Larry's only foray into the flag stand needed a couple of people to defend him from some unhappy racers.
Oh, hey, I didn't have that problem in my one and only time doing that. So last week's how many late models were going to be at Oakshade? I just said that. The winner for between you and I was you, because you said 38. I think I said 39. The actual number was 32. And our online winner from last week was Dustin Gearhart, who guessed 32.
All right.
So, Dustin, get with Dean Henry over at Big D's Pizza and get yourself a free large pizza. So, if you want to win a free large pizza, this week's how many? Figured we pick something a little different. How many 305s will be at Fremont Speedway Saturday night, part of the AFCS series? They're racing for $1,000 to win at both Attica on Friday and then Fremont on Saturday. But how many are going to be at Fremont on Saturday? 305 class. Go ahead and put your guess in our Facebook Live comments. Ron, what do you got?
27.
Okay. And I didn't do any prep work on this to see how many they had last week, which I probably should have. Would have made more sense. Is Kathy there for a guest this week? She back from Florida?
How many? 25. Oh, her says 25.
I'm going to go right in the middle, 26.
Boy, you put yourself in a box there, Scott.
Yeah, I haven't wrote it. I haven't written
I'd have gone higher or
I'm
lower.
going with 28. I'm changing it.
Yeah, okay.
So come on, 305s. Show up at Fremont this weekend. If you got one, get out there. And I did email Ryan Weekman. We did not get a weekend weather pit stop for this weekend. But
he didn't want to be the bearer of bad news.
But it is supposed to rain late Friday. This is me subbing for him. I think we're good Friday night at Attica. I think the rain comes later. Also, I'm not a meteorologist. This is me being wishful thinking. But I think it's supposed to come later, isn't it? The rain? It's supposed to rain Saturday night, I believe.
Right.
And it's supposed to be south from what I saw. I watched the news earlier tonight. So I think we'll be all right. It's going to be hot, though, on Friday, of course. So dress appropriately. We're
Warm,
a little close.
hot and sticky both days.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're looking at it might be a little, if you keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on Attica's Facebook page and everything as well. I think we'll be all right, though. I think it'll
Use the WTOL app and you can get a good idea of when the showers might hit.
And you can keep an eye on the radar and everything as well. And right now the radar looks pretty good. See, there's nothing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. See, we're good. Not a problem.
I can look out the window and see my weather rock has sun shining on it. So yeah.
And Saturday, the rain's supposed to be moving out of here in the morning time. So hopefully we don't get dumped too much on. We'll be good for Sandusky, Oakshade, and Fremont on Saturday night. So, speaking of which, details about racing for this weekend. Friday night is the Burns Electric Edwards Jones of Clyde Smith Paving Night, featuring the Attica Fremont Championship Series 410 sprints, racing for $4,000 to win. 305s, as we mentioned, AFCS 305s racing for $1,000 to win. And it's the Attica Oakshade Late Model Challenge Series as well, all going on at Attica. Gates open at 4:30, racing at 7:45. General admission tickets are $15. That's Friday night. Saturday night, we got 3 different events to choose from. Sandusky Speedway has modifies beginner stocks, renegades, pure stocks. Pit gate opens at 3, racing at 7. General admission's $12. Oakshade Raceway has night number 2 of the Attica Oakshade Late Model Challenge Series, plus Sportsman, Bombers, and Compacts. Gates open at 3, racing at 7. General admission is $14. A special note here: originally this was going to be the Night of Wheels, but due to the season getting pushed back and everything, that has been canceled for at least this weekend. I'm not sure if it's going to be rescheduled or not. That's when they do a bunch of bike giveaways. So
right.
That will not be this weekend, but it will be the Attica Oakshade Late Model Challenge Series. Fremont Speedway also in action with Willie's Sales and Service Night. featuring, again, the Attica Fremont Championship Series 410 sprints, racing for $4,000 to win. The AFCS 305 sprints, $1,000 to win for that. And NRA 360 sprints and the dirt trucks, which I don't believe was on the Fremont Speedway schedule on their website, but it was posted on their Facebook that the dirt trucks will be in action. Gates open at 4.
So it was added.
I believe so, according to their Facebook.
Okay.
General
And
admission.
now all three of those tracks are with fans in the grandstands, correct?
Correct.
Social distancing rules and
limited capacity for all
right.
of them.
Yep.
So, which I know, speaking to or talking to some of the tracks, there's contingency plans if they happen to reach that capacity where they can put more people elsewhere. So don't be worried about being turned away. It's probably not going to happen unless something crazy happens. One other note, and I haven't seen any confirmation or one way or the other on this, but a week from tonight, Waynesfield Raceway Park was originally scheduled to have the 12th annual Jack Hewitt Classic featuring Buckeye Outlaw Sprint Series, the Fast 410 sprints, USAC D2 Thunder Midgets, and the 360 versus 305 Challenge. And again, that's a week from tonight, July 2nd at Waynesfield Raceway Park. I was unable to find any updated information on that said if it was still happening or not, one way or the other. So if we get any updates, we'll post it on our Facebook page and or Twitter. So that's all the news is fit to print. That's all I got, Ron. Again, thanks to Scott Warner joining us earlier tonight and making the big announcement about Millstream Speedway. It's going to be opening up probably toward the end of August. The official date hasn't been announced yet. He'll be putting out a schedule probably the end of July, about a month from now. And as soon as that first date is set, we'll bring him on to get all the details on that. Tentatively scheduled will be the 410s, 305s, and some kind of stock and truck class similar to what the Hammers had done in 2015, 2016.
Yep.
Kind of a combined class. So
Scott and his crew, I know that people would like to see things happen quickly, but Scott and his crew have got a lot of work to do as he outlined. And I just encourage everybody to be as supportive as you can, and let's make this time be the great time.
And you can also follow what's going on and contact him. He's going to update his contact information on millstreamspeedway.net. You can also send a message on their Facebook page. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
He gave us his Twitter account, but I'll be darned if I remember it.
I believe it's on millstreamspeedway.net. I think they got links to their social media on there. Thanks to our sponsors here, the Hammer Down Race Report. You want to be a sponsor? You can do so. You can give me a call, shoot me a message on Facebook, whatever. $30 will get you added to our little scroll down here and mentions in the show for 4 shows, for a whole month's worth of shows. See, there's Ryan Miller going by there.
Yay.
We can do PayPal, Venmo, check, whatever. Cash. We take cash. We do that. And also, something else I forgot to mention that's on that scroll too. We have clothing, apparel. Hammer Down Racing Report officially licensed products. They're on sale right there. There it is. Zazzle.com/store/hammerdownracing. And there's a little code there you can use to save some money. I don't really make any money on any of that stuff. I just put it on there because some people wanted stuff with the Hammer Down Racing Report logo. So
they want to be as cool as we are.
Yeah. Except for tonight, I'm sporting the Millstream Speedway apparel from the late 90s. So thanks to Matt Swander, Dave Kemmer. We'll give them associate producer status for tonight's show. Romulo Race Cars, give Ron a call, 734-856-7223. Got some tires from him the other day, as well as oil, filter, standard stuff.
Sure.
So if you need stuff, give him a call.
We take care of our boys. Now, before we leave, did you say that this was the weekend you were going to Big D's Pizza?
We were going to go to Big D's Pizza because my dad had won the
Yep.
the how many for a week or two ago. No, it was last week, I believe. But they kind of they're I don't know how to put this lightly. They're of older age.
They're stay-at-home folks.
And it's a trip to get out there. And I talked to Dean. He hasn't opened up the dining room out there yet. So we'd have to go out and thered be nowhere for us to eat it, making the trip out there. And the old folks are into eating in the car. I would have been fine with that. But
when you go, I expect you to bring some leftovers back home, Scott.
We'll do that, definitely. Speaking of Big D's Pizza, make sure to mention the Hammer Down Racing Report. Save 10% off your order. If you don't win the how many pizza, you can still save money with the Hammer Down Racing Report. Just mention that. I know Scott Warner, the Millstream promoter, who we just had on a little bit ago, said he was out at Big D's the other day and thanked them for supporting the show. Also, thanks to Oakshade Raceway. We're the fastest meet to race every Saturday night. You can check out their website, oakshaderaceway.com, for the latest information. And Kester Mowing, give them a call for your lawn and landscaping needs. Mowing, seeding, fertilizing, everything. 419-466-3801. He could probably help you. My grass is starting to turn brown. I bet you he'd probably say water it, but he could probably help you with your brown grass. Got the sun shining on my camera here. There.
Ooh.
There we go. So, and our newest sponsor, Millstream Speedway. We welcome them on. Again, Millstream Speedway to return to racing action later this summer, probably about 2 months away from racing action with 410s, 305s, stocks, trucks, and also late models will be out there for at least a show as well, talking to Scott earlier. So if you missed our talk with Scott, you can check out our show again on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, iTunes, wherever, or you can just watch the video over again and have to look at our ugly faces, and we apologize about that. Oh, speaking of OK Google, she's listening to me, and my phone's said something about the 100 juiciest people or something. Not really sure what I was saying. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Hammer Down Racing Report. Technical difficulties is preventing me from playing our outro like we normally would.
So we're just going to say goodbye.
Yeah, I guess that's it. We're out. Next week, we'll be live once again at 7 o'clock Thursday night. Join us on our Facebook page. Make sure to follow us, like us as well. Facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report. Pretty easy. And we'll be back next week with another show. Probably not another major announcement like this week, but
next week, we'll be featuring another whole batch of technical issues.
Yeah. I don't like technical issues. I noticed that the background is actually showing on my computer over there, and on my little logo up in that corner.
Yeah,
is showing up. But on my screen, all I'm seeing is a black background. Here, check this out. This is what I'm looking at right here. See, there's Ron. Oh, now there's two Ron. Yeah, you can't see anything. Whoa, that's pretty funky. Woo! It's time to go. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of I can't get my camera on now. Let's go. We'll see you next week.
Support your local racetracks. Go somewhere this weekend.
There you go. We out.
Good night, all.